Hello and happy finally draft day from Radically Rational and radicallyrational.com. Round one of the draft tonight in Kansas City. You bring the KC barbecue and I'll eat it. That's the way that works. Okay, do you remember that movie, that really regrettable movie from about a decade ago, Draft Day, with Kevin Costner and Jennifer Garner? First of all, it was an atrocious movie with an atrocious premise. And when you think about it, the very best performance turned in that movie was by then Houston Texans running back Arian Foster. He was pretty good. The rest was just ridiculous. But in the movie, at least for one day, the Cleveland Browns were relevant. And tonight, at least for one night, the Houston Texans are going to be relevant because they're driving this train. I don't have any idea what they're going to do with that number 2 overall selection, but the Ouija board of my glutes is moving me to think that maybe they're going to take a defender like, say, Will Anderson from Alabama at 2, and then try to trade their way into addressing their quarterback needs. And I don't think that would be silly at all. I'm also very eager to find out what, say, the Colts and the Seahawks and the Lions are going to do in round number 1. All right, so you got all these quarterbacks. You know, you got Young, you got Stroud, you've got Richardson, you've got Levis. What if I were to tell you that ultimately the former Tennessee Vol quarterback, Hendon Hooker, is going to be the best NFL quarterback in that draft class? I'll admit it. I'm into the whole Rodgers to the Jets thing. I think it's really exciting. The Jets have a good young team, and I promise you, even though there was chaos on the Packers last year, Rodgers' skills have not diminished at all. This is going to be interesting to watch. I pay attention to these things. So think about the AFC East next year. The Bills, the Dolphins, the Jets, and the Patriots will at least be improved enough to gum it up for somebody. So that's going to be fun. So at his introductory news conference yesterday, Rodgers says he took a look at that Jets Super Bowl III trophy and it looked pretty lonely. Fair point. Also a fair point. All those years that you were the starting quarterback for the Packers, who had an excellent team, and 1 is the loneliest number for you as well. Don't forget that. Chase Young's career is at a crossroads because right now his full name in any print or spoken reference remains the disappointing Chase Young. Bye-bye Bucks. Yeah, how about that? They get bounced out. A number 1 gets beat by an 8. Jimmy Butler's a bad man, and if you don't know that, he will absolutely tell you. And then Giannis insists that that was not a failure for his team. He's right. It's a disastrophe. Disaster, hybrid, catastrophe. All right, are you kidding me? That was my incredulous reaction this morning when I read that the T-Wolves' Anthony Edwards swung a chair that struck 2 female employees following Minnesota's season-ending loss to the Nuggets. And yes, he's been charged with 3rd-degree assault. You knew they were going to get it rolling. I'm talking about the Astros. They have now shut out the Rays in Tampa on consecutive nights and are 3 games above 500 for the first time this young season. We get numbed to the surreal, don't you think? Do you ever wake up with the question, how the hell did we get here? Well, that's what I experienced this morning. How is it possible that Donald Trump was ever president of the United States in the first place? And way beyond that, how is it conceivable that anybody would ever want to repeat that nightmare? Now, did you pay attention to the first day of the hearing, the trial of E. Jean Carroll's suit? No, Trumpers, of course you didn't, because you won't even expose yourself to anything you don't want to hear. Fortunately, I paid attention. And let me tell you something. She's got a very strong case. And rape is a really ugly word, don't you think? Back to surrealism. So lying Mother Tucker Carlson, in his first public statement since Fox News vomited him out, looked straight into a television camera and said, in reference to himself, that honest people who say what's true are persecuted and victimized. It's going to be about a 5-second pause here. 2, 3, 4, 5. So my question is, was the ghost of Rod Serling just screwing with us yesterday? Because it sure looked that way. Have you seen the jump in Newsmax ratings? My God. And I'm sorry, folks, there's only one way to interpret this. This is cultists saying, all right, Fox Spews, if you're not going to lie to us anymore, we're going to find somebody who will, and you better know we mean it. Where am I wrong? The evidence is there. How does that not make sense? And by the way, let me just say this. Some of you get upset when I use the word cult. Look up the literal dictionary definition of cult and tell me how that is not a cult. This is too good and I'm loving it. DeSantis has been completely jocked by the mouse that roared. Disney is schooling that boy. And I'll promise you, the First Amendment suit that the mouse just filed, that's got merit and it's got legs. And speaking of legs, it looks like Nikki Haley just showed the mouse some legs. Come on to my house, like South Carolina. And here is DeSantis hell-bent on destroying his own state's economy. One final point to ponder. So DeSantis is a conservative. Tell me how DeSantis is a conservative in any way. I'll wait, but not that long. Have a good Thursday. Have a good draft day. We're radically rational.